latest version of remote learning with Microsoft EDU. And we've been doing this for, gosh, almost 8 weeks. And given that at least I'm going to be sheltering in place for another month or so, we're going to keep doing it, at least for a while. So with that, we've got a really awesome set of guests today. We have Beth Dudica and Robin Lowell, both from I2E, both educators and both experts and the creators of what is maybe my most favorite site of all time, or at least it's tied. It's in the top couple. And it's our incredible new site that just launched, Special Education and Accessibility Resources for Remote Learning, one of the most important topics probably in the world, at least in the world of remote learning right now. And so I can't wait. They're going to get a deep dive into their little baby that they created, and I'm really excited for that to happen. So first off, a couple latest updates. We've got the Microsoft EDU remote learning site. It's our main site with all of our latest and greatest. Go there to keep up to date with all the stuff we have. There's the Teams for Education Quick Start Guide, highly recommended guide. Get up and running with Teams quickly, PDF format, really easy to use, lots of different languages it is supported in. And then be sure to sign up for the remote learning community. That is the community of over 5,000 educators from around the world working together, collaborating. The product team is in there, engineering team's in there, supporting, helping, answering questions. It is a great place to learn about remote learning, and we hope you join. So for today's updates, of course, the first one that isn't brand new, but I'll keep pointing it out. Again, one of my favorite sites of all time, the Special Education and Accessibility Resources page. Then we've got brand new screen recording just launched this morning, so you can now record your screen with Microsoft Stream right in the browser. Works on any platform, any device. Super cool if you have a web browser. And Flipgrid had a really nice educator blog that just came out yesterday. It's Teacher Appreciation Week. We appreciate all the educators out there. Flipgrid has a great blog talking about some of the inspirational educators that they have worked with. And so with that, I'm going to introduce Beth Dudica and Robin Lowell. They both work for I2E, but they're both experts in accessibility, special education, and everything in between, and educators. And I've worked with them for many years at this point. We've done conferences together. We've hung out together. We're all fans of accessibility and special education. And I'm going to turn it over to Beth and Robin, who are going to take control and give us a tour into their new site. So thanks for joining us, folks.
Hi, so glad to be here. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
This is a dream come true for a lot of folks because we've been sort of dreaming about these resources to be able to hand to special education teachers, or basically any teacher who has a student with any kind of special need or might be in the special education system at this point. These resources are really incredible. I want to just take a moment to show you what they are for a few minutes. Most of the tools that you're going to see are either free or have very low costs. There's a lot of tools in here that students can use now that will also help them in their future careers as they graduate and walk into a lifelong career of anything. These are tools that will help them throughout that time. These are great for remote learning, but they're also long-term fixes for lots of different aspects of learning and collaboration and working with other students in the same way that they're going to work with colleagues in the future. So these are skills that we can build on as early as kindergarten all the way up. And last but not least, these resources were built by teachers with pedagogy in mind. So good best practices always come first before any element. These aren't going to be a fix for everybody, but there's certainly things in here that could help a lot of students and a lot of families as they're trying to navigate this unusual time. So with that, I am going to pass it to Robin and I think show my screen here, the resource pages.
Great. So while Beth is getting that put up on our screen, the way we sort of built out these pages is with the idea of looking at them in sections. So the first section we're going to go through. So I'll wait till, have you shared, you're in the process of sharing?
Yes, hang on.
Yep.
All right.
Quite see it yet, Beth.
Working on it. Sorry.
Oh, I think it's starting. All right, there we go. Fantastic.
There we go. Sorry.
So to start, sorry, go ahead, Beth.
Do we want to show how to get to this page, first of all? At education.microsoft.com, these resources live here in the Explore Resources and Lesson Plans. And if you click Browse, since I can very often never remember the title of anything, I just typed in Special Education. And here it is, Special Education and Accessibility Resources for Remote Learning. This is sort of the portal for where you'll find all the resources we're going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm. So there's actually also a shortcut, aka.ms/SPED, and that's an easy way to remember to get right to this page as well. So the first thing we're going to look at is supporting a new model to deliver specially designed instruction. So thinking about the different ways we can reach all of our students with special education needs, different learning needs in different ways. So we have 6 different areas right here. We have teachers as consultants, connecting with students and parents, models of instruction, data collection, setting yourself up for success, and creating accessible content. So I'm going to start by having Beth click right on that Teachers as Consultants page. So this is thinking about how can we change our mindset and change sort of our methodology when we're working with our students now that they're at home and not in the classroom. So we have to rely a lot on our families in order to really connect with those kids. So we kind of changed our mindset to being a consulting. We're helping the families. We're connecting with the kids, not only directly, but indirectly. So Beth, if you could slowly scroll through the page. So we're looking at the first one is like in a synchronous way. If we're connecting with our families in a meeting, we can use Teams calls, and we can do it as a class, and as a special educator, we can jump into that class if it's a general education class and see what the student's doing and help them out. We can work with kids one-on-one. We can have a Teams call and just really connect with those kids and work on their goals and skills that are that they need to be working on. And if you scroll down a little bit more, there's asynchronous ways that we could connect with our students and really in that kind of teacher as consultant model. And Flipgrid is a fantastic way to think about that. Flipgrid gives us the opportunity to create those little videos that we can then upload for our students to look at or our parents to look at and be able to work on skills and practice. I mean, anything from a student who is working on OT skills to have a video to be able to model, and the parents can look at it and help model those behaviors as well, as the reverse of that, where we can have the parents record a Flipgrid and send it to the teacher, and then you'll be able to then see what the student's actually working on, because I've seen already that you don't always have the opportunity to see a student's working on those skills in a remote setting. Students aren't always cooperative. So we actually have the opportunity to see those skills in action by having the parents record and then send them back to us. And Beth has turned on the video, and it goes through of how to use Flipgrid and what that looks like. What I really love about these pages is there is so much creativity in here of using business level products in Flipgrid, which is built directly, built for education, but all these products and all these tools and all these apps that we can use for accessibility and giving access to our students. So there's a lot of creativity in here, and it's really exciting. So if we want to kind of go back a page on this, then we can look at some of the other areas. So that's teachers as consultants. How do we consult with our families? The other page, actually, Beth, I'd like you to click on is that creating accessible content. And this is thinking about that that mind shift from being in the classroom to this online version, that we're not there to adapt our materials for our students. And we really need to think about all of our content the accessibility of all of our content from the beginning. So this page really goes in depth of how do you need to create content that is so it's accessible for all users. For example, making it efficient for a screen reader to use it, having enough high contrast so that a student with low vision, for example, will be able to read what you have given them. So this page has a lot of great content on there and how to really create this accessible content in different ways. And it gives suggestions and ideas of making sure you record your lessons so a student can then go back and look at it. And Stream auto-generates captions, so that way all of your videos are captioned, which is a critical thing for all of our students to have the option to watch a video with captioning. And making sure that there's little tweaks in there, like the links in a document have a usable title so the students know where they're going. And you may not have students who need these accessible materials, but you don't know who the student may be living with, and someone who could help the student may need accessible content. So it's really important that we're always thinking about creating accessible content. So if we could go back a little bit to that main page. Again, thinking about all this idea of a new model, and the one that I know Beth and I are really excited about and that we really want to dive in more to is data collection. So thinking about how we can get all that information about our students in order to make sure their program is exactly what they need, and we know what behaviors are meaning and make tweaks to their program. And this also gives us the ability in the idea of this remote setting is strengthening our home and school connection. If we are seeing what's happening at home, then we can help that connection of what we're working on in the classroom, then transfer outside of the classroom and into the greater community, into their homes and into their lives. So they really see the importance of this and assisting our families and helping those students get to where they need. There's a lot of different ways to collect data using Flipgrid again. And one thing you'll notice in all of these pages is there is a lot of overlap between sections. You'll say, oh, I saw Flipgrid here, here, and here. And I think that's really important to call out because these tools have so many uses. It's not one tool, one action, that these tools have so many opportunities to serve different areas. And we'll see more of that, especially with Flipgrid. And then there's Microsoft Forms for data collection. So simplifying the data collection process, click up a button, you get analytics. It's pretty fantastic. Again, Teams meetings, keeping anecdotal and quantitative data in one spot, using Office Lens to collect materials and have work samples. So this idea of data collection is kind of daunting in a remote setting, but I really think that it's possible. And there's all these great ideas in here of ways to keep that data collection going, not only now, but when we find our new normal and what that looks like. We'll be able to have these incredible ways to get data that we need for our students. Okay, so we can hop back to the landing page. All right, so that's really this idea of all these different ways of exploring, this new model. There's we don't need to click on it right now, but the setting yourself up for success is really about what can you do as a teacher to help yourself be prepared, ideas on the best ways to connect with students and parents. So, and then the models of instruction of like, how can we utilize all of our staff? What are different ways we can connect with our families, with all of our team members? Okay, so Beth, I'm going to throw it back to you, and if you want to kind of give us an overview of what the support for students look like.
Sure. So one of the things that is amazing about this whole scenario with this pandemic and having to do remote learning, because it's a have to, is that some of these tools that are actually really useful on a day-to-day basis without trying to work remotely can be so helpful and useful for students regardless. And so we love that there are teachers and students out there trying new things, and they're trying to implement these in ways that maybe they haven't tried before for different use cases. And so this section down here is kind of from the perspective of a teacher who maybe has a student and they're trying to figure out, how do I do this remotely, and what could I do? And so we decided to put these into sort of some categories that a teacher could go in, a staff person could go in, a parent could go into, and find all of the things that might help for each sort of scenario, because there's a lot out there. And like Robin was saying, one tool actually can be used in so many different aspects. So we tried to show that by putting it in a couple of different areas with some understanding around it. So for example, I think, Robin, were you wanting to go into multiply impaired, or what was the first one you wanted to go into?
Actually, let's talk about vision first.
Vision first, okay. So click on the vision page and you'll kind of have an idea of what we're talking about. Go for it, Robin.
All right, so vision is near and dear to my heart. I was a teacher visually impaired for 15 years, so I saw the struggles that my students had, and being able to access their materials in a timely manner. And that is the key piece right there. And that's one of the things about all the materials we have in this, is that timely manner. So often materials have to get sent off, modified, and then brought back to the student. But there's all these tools in here that allow the student to have access to materials when the rest of the class does. And that is huge. That is a huge, huge thing. So looking at let's go up from the top. Let's talk about just a few of these things. The Ease of Access Center, and then I'll talk about learning tools afterwards, because that one just is so amazing for vision. Ease of Access Center. So this is something that I spend a lot of time talking to not only my the teachers I work with, but I spend a lot of time talking to families about this, because this is really what a nice little hidden gem that has always been in Windows, but it has gone through so many changes, and it is just this amazing tool to really make the computer as easy to use as possible. You can change your display, your mouse pointer, and you can make the mouse pointer gigantor, which is really important for a lot of users, is that the mouse pointer is large. So there's all these different things, magnifier, color filters. So that way you can just turn your computer on and it's set up exactly the way you need it to be successful. So now let's go back up and talk about Learning Tools Immersive Reader. For a student with low vision, this can be such a game changer, because you can get any document, PDF, you can get a Word doc, and you can turn it into the format that you need right away. And one thing I like about it, it doesn't reverse the pictures. So if you like the dark background with white lettering, you can have that, and you can increase the spacing. So you can tweak it to exactly what you need to be able to access materials, plus being able to have it read to you and reading along, which is really, really important for a lot of our low vision students. And again, this gives the student instant access to the materials they may not have had before. So we can scroll down a little bit, looking at some of the other ones. Seeing AI, which is an app which allows you to really explore the world around you. And I call out Narrator in here because Narrator is a built-in screen reader. This is another tool that really makes it non-stigmatizing. So we can think about the screen reading tool built right into Windows 10, and there's been so much work done on it. It's very usable and it's very easy to use. That is accessible and that's already there. And that's the big piece, because so many of our kids are spread all over the place. And so having an assistive technology specialist go out and install technology can be challenging sometimes. So having the technology already there is one of the biggest game changers. And then the bottom down here, we talk about creating accessible content. Again, going back to that page we looked at before, and how Office Lens is one of the biggest game changers. So a student could be handed a paper document, take a snapshot, have Immersive Reader read it to them right then. They know what it's been handed to them. They can independently adapt that and use it right then without having to go have it adapted by another staff member. Okay, so that's vision. And then let's go back and talk about an area that has been really a head scratcher during this time, thinking about our students who are multiply impaired or are medically fragile. And this is an area that can be challenging in a distance setting when a lot of these students come to school, and how they interact would not work with you through a screen. So how do we do this? It's really, I think, about that connection piece, connecting with families, connecting with their peers, if they can hear them or if they can see them. They don't necessarily need to directly interact with the screen. So if those connections are happening with the families and the specialists, again, doing that consultation model, or working with the families, giving them goals and strategies, the teachers have opportunities through teams to connect with the students, make observations, do data collections. So if you'd like to scroll down just a little bit. Again, that class connection. So if it's possible, have that class connect together and do some of the typical activities that they would do in class with the assistance of parents. So they still have that peer connection, that opportunity to hear or see what they would as if they were in the classroom, and really connecting with the families. So there are definitely ways to collaborate even with our most fragile students and keep them going on their program and connected to their peers at school. So going back to our landing page. So looking at these supports, we have reading, writing, and math. So we're talking about, if you want to click on that one, Beth, we're looking at Immersive Reader and how it can work for so many different students. Again, Office Lens. And there's all these resources in there, and the videos and all the documentation and how-tos to be able to not only know these things are there, but how to use them, and ideas for including them in your program with your students. Math tools, one of my personal favorites, is really thinking about our whole program for our kiddos and giving them the tools and strategies that they need to be successful. Again, taking these tools that we're learning now and being able to apply them post high school. And one, I got permission to tell this story. I got a message from a former student who was in my distance learning math class at Washington State School for the Blind. And he's now grad school, senior at Eastern. And he said, I've never said thank you, but the distance learning that we did in high school when we were doing math has prepped me for what we're doing now. He says, everybody else around me is freaking out. And he's like, I know what to do, because we gave him these enterprise business level tools and skills in order to be successful in K-12 and beyond. And just seeing that was like, it just made it all worth it. So these tools can make a difference for a student. When we're looking at executive functioning and mobility, hearing, even neurodiversity, and then mental health, thinking about all of our students and as a whole in all the areas that they're going to need support in. So in a snapshot, these are those support for students, and really thinking about as a teacher, I have a student who has mobility, and so you can go right there and find all the information you need. It's not a hunt and peck and try to find. It's really go to that place, find the information you need, and then learn how to apply it. So that's support for students. So Beth, can you tell us about inclusive practices for all learners?
Yeah, this is a section that is in process as well. We are adding to this frequently. We will be adding to this section down here. Right now we have a page about accommodations and second language learners. So we've got lots of information in here about different types of accommodations and what can be done in a remote environment. And we have a couple pages that should be coming any day now, a page specifically for parents, so that special education teachers, you can send your parents to this page so that they can become coordinators with you and have the resources and feel like all the how-tos, if they need to know how to do something on their end, all those resources are sort of written for them. Early childhood, that's another area that there will be a page down here for that. And then highly capable and twice exceptional. There will also be a page about that coming along. Mm-hmm. I think it's such a testament to you, Robin, as a teacher, that during this time when everybody's gone remote, your former students are coming back to you years later and thanking you because you helped teach them a lot of these tools, even though many of them look so different now. But yeah. It just gives me goosebumps. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, I'll just jump in. I think too, a lot of this is you don't know what you don't know. And so helping all of our teachers and our parents and our guardians' families, and students, helping them to really understand and learn what's out there. So that way, when the students are growing up and high school, college, and career, they know how to advocate for themselves. And so we need to start with materials and tools and web pages like this, where our teachers can go and learn and learn themselves and figure out these tools so they can then pass them along to their students. So for both Beth and I, we really feel like these pages are that first step into helping our students become independent and community members, and whatever that looks like for the students, is to be able to get where they need to be with the right tools and the right strategies and the right ability to advocate for themselves. So I think that, I think that there's so much information here, and more is going to be coming. And this is a work in progress always, because special education is a world where it's ever evolving. Our students change not only year to year, but month to month and day to day, and we need to be ready to help them, support them with what they need to be successful. And like Beth said in the beginning, this idea that this really revolves around pedagogy, and these tools are here to support that pedagogy and support you as a teacher in order to be able to help your students become successful and really fulfill their potential. And there's a lot of great information and tools in here that support those goals.
Yeah, well said. It can be done. Things can be done at this time, even though it feels really hard sometimes. There's a lot in here that empowers teachers to do something that there are things that can be accomplished, learning goals, even remotely.
Yep.
All right. So let's see, flipping back to Mike, I think.
Great. Well, thanks, Beth and Robin. This was really, really cool to see all of you walk through, talk about the details. You both have a lot of experience in this space and super helpful. Again, this is, one of my favorite sites that I've seen in a very long time. And I would encourage people to bookmark it, explore it. There's so much good information wrapped up in there. And there's going to be more parent aspects coming very soon, as Beth mentioned. So that's the site here. Definitely bookmark it. There's also the new Microsoft Stream screen recording that came out. There's a blog that's rolling out globally right now, and I think by Monday it'll be fully out everywhere. And then there's the Flipgrid blog, which we talked about. The PowerPoint deck, which has the links in it, that'll be posted probably late tonight, tomorrow morning. This whole episode will be posted on our remote learning playlist, where we have our ongoing set of YouTube videos. So there's a YouTube playlist that has every episode. And then always, if you have a support issue or a bug, we have a bunch of support specialists who are focused only on helping educators in schools. And you can go to this link right here, file a support ticket, and get help. Other than that, a couple webinars coming up. We have Lauren Taylor from Tacoma, and she's going to be talking all about teams for education, bringing together class, staff, and families. And then we have Cal Armstrong and Tom Grissom on Monday, May 11th. And that one's going to be really fun. Innovative pedagogy during distance learning. And our full schedule is at the bottom. Other than that, thank you very much for Maryline behind the scenes, our producer, and we will see you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.